Welcome to Cryptids of the Corn. Each week, Justin and Jay take a look at a topic in the crypto and paranormal world. They focus on the Midwest and Appalachia of the U.S., but sometimes they venture out with everything from well-known monster sightings to one-off cryptids, live person interviews to actual fieldwork sneaking in some science lessons. There's sure to be something you'll enjoy. Please join us this episode of Cryptids of the Corn.
Hello, and welcome back. I am the great and powerful Mystery.
And I am grass-fed, non-GMO Jay.
And together, we are Cryptids of the Corn podcast. In this week's episode is all about why everybody hates cows.
Yeah.
Before we get into the real show topic, though, remember we have Patreon, all kinds of free, or not free, but all kinds of cool content on there. We have the Facebook page that has giveaways going on it, I think, when this episode comes out. If not, wait, they'll come back around.
We're just, if you not joined our Facebook page or group yet, we give away stuff all the time. It's just fun for us. We enjoy it. Instagram, we're giving stuff away now.
Even Patreon.
And Patreon, we're giving stuff away all the time. We got some cool stuff on books right now, whether it's been given away yet or not, but we're giving away for our 1-year anniversary, our birthday.
Oh, please, whatever app you're listening on, give us a 5-star review if you like the show. We do appreciate it.
And we like reading the reviews.
Yeah, if we get enough of them, I'll do a whole episode on reading reviews.
I think we mentioned that before, but we just need more. We need more reviews.
Right now it'd be like 3 minutes, because they're nice reviews, don't get me wrong. I appreciate everybody's reviews.
Everybody's review?
I appreciate them all. Constructive criticism.
Yes. No, I think they're great. I love them all.
Now shut up.
Good, bad, or... yeah. Oh, if you know, you know.
That guy probably has stopped listening because we picked on him quite a bit.
It's okay. It's fun.
What is today's topic, Jay?
Ooh, mutilations.
Of what?
Bovine.
Bovine brutality.
Oh, I like that. Ooh, cows in layman's term. Cows.
Is it just cows, though?
I'd say most of it, but no, it's not.
Okay.
It's not just cows, but for the most part, yes.
I'm going to give you the straight-up wiki definition of cattle mutilations.
Okay, so yes, if you haven't caught on yet, cattle mutilation.
Cattle mutilations. Which, this is probably going to be a two-parter. We're not quite sure, but we're going to just go with probably going to be a two-parter.
And what I found out, I'm going to kind of jump ahead a little bit, but way more common than you think.
It is.
Unless you know about this, it's way more common than you think.
I mean, I even knew about it, and it's more common than I thought.
Me too.
Research.
I knew it existed, but I didn't know it was so freaking common.
Anyways, cattle mutilations. I will say something wrong. Because cattle mutilations, whatever it is, that phrase, it trips me up with my brain disabilities. So
it's probably
I will say it wrong.
Probably all that helium you've been sucking in the past.
Cattle mutilations, also known as bovine mutilations and unexplained livestock death syndrome.
Okay.
It does have a syndrome with the USDA. It's unexplained livestock death syndrome.
Wow.
Is the killing and mutilation of cattle under unusual ways, unusual bloodless circumstances. So that is the USDA's criteria. It's not just killing cattle, because farmers kill each other's cattle. Stuff happens.
It happens, yeah.
But this is unexplainable and almost exclusively bloodless.
Which is, yeah.
This phenomenon has been observed in wild animals as well, worldwide. It's also been observed. So this is the animals that's been observed in besides cattle: sheep, horses, goats, pigs, rabbits, cats, bison, dogs, deer, and elk. In that order. So cows are number one, and then it's sheep, and then horses, and then goats, so on and so forth. Have been reported to be mutilated in the similar bloodless ways, often with eyes, ears, jaw, flesh, tongues, lymph nodes, genitals, and rectums being removed, along with liver. Since the first reports of animal mutilations, various explanations have been offered, ranging from natural decomposition to natural predators to cults to secretive government and military agencies to a range of speculations, including cryptids, and extraterrestrials. Mutilations have been the subject of 2 independent federal investigations in the United States in the last 30 years.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's been looked at by a wide range of 3-letter agencies as well as some more private groups.
Yeah, I was gonna say independent kind of researchers.
Even stuff like ag insurance companies have looked into it and stuff like that because they're the one footing the bill.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you have insurance on these cows and they wind up how they're winding up, you kind of want to figure out what's causing this.
They more look into it because it looks like it could be. It's like if you burn your own house down, the insurance isn't going to pay the house fire.
Gotcha.
Insurance.
Yeah.
So if you go out and mutilate all your cattle,
They want to investigate, make sure you're not.
You didn't do it.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's kind of the gist of it. We're going to go over a short history too.
Did you say goats in there or sheep? Or I heard sheep.
I said sheep. Yeah, goats were number 4.
My brother has a story, and I just remembered it as you were saying that.
Well, I'll call him after we take our break and see if we can get him on for part 2.
Okay. I will.
Like here in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, he'll do it.
But yeah. So we're going to go in just kind of the Wikipedia's history because Wikipedia does do a nice little breakdown of some like bips, bops, and boops.
Okay. I like bips, bops, and boops.
The earliest known documented outbreak of unexplained livestock death syndrome occurred in the early year of 1606.
Okay.
1606.
Yeah, that's 400. Yeah.
Just above the city of London, somewhere in the shires adjoining. Whole slaughters of sheep have been made in some places that are numbering over 100. So this is written in England, so it's kind of weird. In other areas, less than 100, where nothing is taken from the sheep but their tallow and some of their innard parts. So their tallow is just stomach parts.
Oh, okay.
And the whole carcass and fleece remaining still behind. Because if it's normally that's what the sheep were being killed for, is to steal their wool.
Right, yeah. I mean, that's what they were being grown for.
Yeah, but I'm just saying for people to steal stuff, it's normally meat and wool.
And I don't think
that's what's being left.
I don't think exactly. So it's not people.
Yeah. Often to secondary conjecture, but most agreed that the tendeth towards some fireworks. I don't understand what they mean by that. 1606 England.
Yes, good luck. Good luck translating that.
I think they're talking about UFOs.
Oh, okay.
They're blaming these weird skylights.
Okay.
The outbreak was noted by the official records of Court of James I of England. Charles Fort collected many accounts of cattle mutilations that occurred in England in the late 19th century and early 20th century. John Keel mentioned investigation animal mutilation cases in 1966, while with Ivan T. Sanderson, that was being reported in the Upper Ohio River Valley around Gallipolis, Ohio.
Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Mothman, 60s, West Virginia.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Everything is tied back to that.
West Virginia, Ohio is, I'm going to say, the weirdest place in the country. You can have your Area 51, your out west stuff, which we got a very large section in this thing with.
Okay.
But Ohio and West Virginia are the weirdest states.
Yeah, nothing even comes close to it. Nothing.
Not even Wisconsin.
Well, they don't really come close to anything except beer drinking. I'm just teasing, but they're really good at that.
Sure. They're just good at not stopping.
Yeah, there you go.
So we're going to talk about Skippy the horse mutilations. Before we get into Skippy the horse, so far, you have any questions or any comments about the kind of the baseline we set up for cattle mutilations? Specifically, those are the things that are missing. Mm-hmm. They're normally bloodless. Even the USDA has criteria,
which is nuts, right?
Set forward to be and I think it's more for the insurance claiming side of it. Mm-hmm. So when they rule, like, this is mutilations. This is not the farmers doing.
Right.
I think that's why they had to develop criteria on it. Because,
I mean, you'd have to also include the bloodless thing, too, because if you're a farmer and you just want to, like, slaughter it for insurance purposes, good luck doing it without...
If you slaughter... And we're going to get into it. We have a lot of stories. Mm-hmm. I picked a lot of accounts we're going to go over. This is going to be a lot of stuff. Mm-hmm. If you just started killing cattle out in the middle of your field, it's going to be a mess.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a mess.
I don't care who you are.
It's a mess when you do it in like a contained environment when you're like where they actually do it at.
And how most people kill a cow is the nail gun to the head. You would see that.
Oh yeah.
You'd find the nail or the hole of the nail in the
head
of the cow.
And you'll soon find out all these is not like that at all.
No. All right, you ready to get to Skippy the horse?
Yeah.
I'm actually going to have you read Skippy the horse's account.
Okay. Skippy or Snippy? It says Snippy.
Did I misread the name the whole time?
I think you did.
Snippy the horse.
Skippy's peanut butter. Snippy is the horse.
I'm thinking of the old show horse.
Oh, okay.
That played Mr. Ed.
Gotcha. That's okay. It happens. Okay, so here we go. Animal mutilation was relatively unknown until 1967 when the Pueblo chieftain published a story about a horse called Snippy that was mysteriously killed and mutilated in Alamosa, Colorado. On September 9th, 1967, Agnes King and her son Harry reportedly found the dead body of their 3-year-old horse. The horse's head and neck had been skinned and defleshed. The body displayed cuts that, to King, looked very precise. No blood was at the scene, according to Harry, and a strong medicinal odor was in the air. The story was republished by the wider press and distributed nationwide. This case was the first to feature speculation that extraterrestrial beings and unidentified flying objects were associated with mutilation. A subsequent investigation by Wadsworth Eyre for the Condon Committee concluded that there was no evidence to support the assertion that the horse's death was associated in any way to abnormal causes. That seems like a cover-up, right?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Natural causes.
Yeah.
The head
was... Wait, let me read that again. The head and neck had been skinned and defleshed, and the body displayed cuts that to King looked very precise. No blood was at the scene.
Natural causes. Don't ask any questions.
Exactly. I like when we get to use the buttons. When the Lewises phoned Alamosa County Sheriff Ben Phillips, he told them that the death was probably due to a lightning strike and never...
I wrote the thing and I forgot.
And never bothered to visit the site. A lightning strike just...
Boom! The horse got cut and defleshed by a lightning strike.
Yes.
You ever seen an animal struck by lightning?
Yeah, there's burnt. It's all burnt and blackened.
Barbecue.
Yeah. So there's not a description of that. Early press coverage of the case misnamed Lady as Snippy. Snippy was Lady's sire? Is that right?
Yeah.
And belonged to Nellie's husband, Burl Lewis. Later press coverage mentions that the horse had been shot in the rump. However, 2 students from Alamosa State College confessed to sneaking out to the pasture and shooting the horse several weeks after the case was publicized. Okay, so that was the cover-up.
This is a weird story.
Yeah.
There's a lot of twists and turns, and if we start, later on, Snippy, which is actually Lady. Lady is the dead horse, not Snippy.
So they changed the name to Snippy?
No, it got misreported. Snippy was the mate to Lady.
So Snippy didn't die.
Alive.
Oh,
Not
was
anymore.
alive.
That'd be very impressive. Horses live 30s. Occasionally you get a 40-year-old horse.
No, 60, 80 years.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so this is kind of our first famous one.
Yeah, that made headways.
Yeah.
But completely covered up.
Badly.
Yeah.
Like twist and turns.
Sloppily.
Yeah, well, I think it may have been the first time they really had to do it. Like every other one that, it's just kind of the farmers, we're going to get into later, the out west guys really didn't turn in a lot of stuff.
Right.
So before the age of the internet where you could take a picture on your phone and everybody in the world could see it, it was more of a localized thing. So it didn't need to cover up. Just kind of buried itself because,
Right. And in the 60s, I think there was a boom of newspaper and stuff, for sure. Even more so. I mean, I guess it was already big, but...
World got weird in the 60s.
Yeah.
I mean, the world was always weird, but we definitely see an explosion
of
the
weird.
60s.
And not just in this sort of thing, but everything was weird.
Everything in the 60s got weird.
Hippies.
So we're going to jump to 1973 Mutilations. On December 4th, 1973, law enforcement reported a wave of cattle mutilations in several counties across Kansas and Nebraska. Sexual organs were reported to be removed. Weeks later, it was reported that 38 mysterious cattle deaths occurred across 11 counties. Multiple labs tests suggest many of these animals had died from blackleg, a cattle disease. It's a very weird thing, and we're going to see pneumonia, blackleg, and a couple other cattle diseases keep popping up.
Okay, like as
Causes.
there you go. That's the word I was searching for. Causes of death.
So we're going to jump to 1974, mutilations and unidentified helicopters.
Ooh.
By June 1974, mutilations had been reported to be spreading across Lancaster County, Nebraska. On August 20th, 1974, the Lincoln Journal-Star reporter reported a strange, unidentified helicopter-like thing shining spotlights into fields that would soon become mutilation sites. One investigator claimed the helicopter sighting had become a nightly occurrence, with both the FAA and the National Guard reported being unaware of any helicopter activity in the area. After ranchers began forming nightly vigils, the National Guard warned the helicopter pilots to fly at higher than normal altitudes to avoid firing from jittery farmers. State leaders called for an investigation. By October 1974, the report of a UFO conspiracy theorist considered the cattle mutilations might be related to flying saucers. So there's kind of gets lost in translation. But why did the National Guard tell helicopter pilots to fly higher? Because now at this point, the National Guard had helicopters out there looking for these other helicopters.
Yeah.
So that kind of gets misreported sometimes.
Okay.
That saying the National Guard admitted to having that they were doing it.
Yeah.
But no, the National Guard did have helicopters out there
Looking for
the original helicopter things. And then I just think it's funny, like, yeah, guys, you might want to fly a little higher.
some farmers don't
Farmer
shoot.
Johnston's lost 13 cattle this week. That's $10,000 in the 70s, and he's got his 30-06 out there, and he will kill you.
Shoot, people still do that today.
I mean, I know we know farmers that will kill you.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. Without a doubt.
I mean,
You got to protect your stuff though.
yeah, I mean, they were raised in a completely different time. We know one in particular that was raised during the Great Depression that lost everything and built it all back up, and he will kill every single one of us to keep it from losing it again.
Yes, absolutely.
So this is when we're starting in the 74s when they're really starting to get tied to the UFOs.
Okay,
But
so
I'm making it clear that cattle mutilations happened 1606.
yeah,
They happened forever before they got attached to the UFO phenomena.
and it might, yes,
So we're not attaching them to UFO phenomena.
it was already done.
Yeah.
It had been done.
In the 70s. So it's not like they were always attached, or were they?
I mean, they could have been. It just
No.
never was widely reported.
I got stuff for you later.
Oh,
So later developments. So we're still in the Wikipedia stuff.
yeah.
Senator Floyd Huskell?
Yep.
Okay. Contacted the FBI asking for help in 1975 due to public concern regarding the issue. Basically, a lot of farmers were losing a lot of stuff, and they were going to burn down the Capitol. You think this last Capitol intrusion was bad? A bunch of Nebraskan and North Dakota farmers driving all the way to the East Coast.
Oh yeah, imagine that
They
nowadays.
lost everything.
Yeah. Oh
That is
gosh.
not. They would have won.
Oh, for sure.
They would have won. So yeah, they claimed that there had been over 130 mutilations in Colorado alone that year, and further reports across 9 states. In 1979, FBI reported instant report. Sorry, flipped it in my head. That according to investigation by the New Mexico State Police, there had been an estimated 8,000 mutilations in Colorado and approximately over $2 million in damage.
And that's just Colorado.
Just Colorado since 74.
See, is way more prevalent.
5 years.
Gosh.
Many cases of mutilations have been reported worldwide since 1967. The Snippy incident, chiefly in the Americas and Australia. But in South America, there's an estimated 3,500 incidents that have occurred since 2002,
Dang.
when around 400 cases were reported in 2002 alone.
Oh, jeez.
Mutilation investigations assert that a large number of these cases are never reported to authorities. Perhaps no more than 1 in 10.
Oh,
so
wow.
I have numbers for you later.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, the FBI estimates that it's 1 in 10 gets reported.
Yeah. So that's 90% of them aren't even.
So when I get to these
about.
big numbers, keep in mind this is probably 10% of the real number.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
In the summer of 2019, 5 bulls were mutilated in Civis Valley Ranch in Oregon. They estimated that each bulls were around 2,000 pounds and worth $6,000 apiece. The FBI made no comment on whether or not there was an investigation in this particular event at the Civis Valley Ranch, but offered a $25,000 reward for information on the topic. So this is like my short history before we get into these more modern cases I have for you.
Yeah.
So far, you see this line building up since the 70s. FBI, CIA, USDA are constantly, U.S. National Guard are constantly being involved with this with little to no comment.
Mm-hmm. Cover up.
That or they don't know how to deal with what's happening.
And they don't want to sound stupid trying to explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they can't say, think about it. I know we're all very conspiratorially minded.
Mm-hmm.
We all want to blame the FBI. We all want to blame the CIA. We want to blame these government organizations. But in this time frame, if they don't know what's happening, hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars of cattle are being just destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have an answer. They're just not going to have a comment.
Right.
Like you just said, we are supposed to be the ones that are the overseers.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't know what's happening. Nobody's going to respect us.
Yeah, that would not be good.
Right. And so I get why, if that's the reasoning, why no comment. But they are always there. So I want to make that clear. That one three-layered organization or another
is always
present at every one of these big ones.
I think I know what the truth is.
You could, save it. That's
Okay.
probably going to be part 2.
Okay.
If you need to write it down, there's a pad where you're right there. But so this short history, they're always there. There's no comment. They're always offering financial rewards for information, though.
Yes, true. Yeah, because they want to, hey, you figure out part of the truth. Here's some shut up money.
And that could be that. You can go that way, or you could be really that they, especially in the 70s, they really might not know what's going on. Mm-hmm. And they really want to know.
Yeah.
They go out to these scenes, like the one had 180 cattle. Mm-hmm. They're just decimated. Only lymph nodes and livers missing. That's such a weird thing. No
so
blood.
Weird. So weird.
What would you do if you're that FBI investigator?
Yeah. I can't even imagine in my head what could be doing that sort of thing,
Exactly. It's like, even if you are the FBI investigator, your criteria, the things probably don't even hold a candle to walking out and trying to investigate this.
Right, exactly.
Because you got to think, we're going to talk about cult stuff and people later being blamed for this. That's 180 cattle all dead in a field, like the herd just dropped.
No blood.
No blood. If you stab a cow, the other cows will murder you.
Yeah. Oh, I've seen it.
We had a farmer. I knew a farmer that died from cows, which we'll get to later.
Okay.
Why everybody hates cows.
Yeah, remember, this is only happening in cows because everybody
hates cows.
Yes.
But, like you just said, why cows?
Mm-hmm.
Why cows? And we just, like I read earlier, it's not just cows, but it's
right, mostly
98% cows.
Yeah.
Because cows are globally common.
Yes, they are.
Very easy to find in large numbers.
Yeah, they're a huge mammal that's everywhere, and they're pretty docile as far as just they just graze around.
They're on every continent besides Antarctica in large numbers. They're agriculturally farmed. If you need to mess with a lot of them, you can. The number 2 is sheep, because it's probably the next one that's like that. Available in big herds, globally common. It used to be the U.S.'s, like, sheep were really big in the U.S. for a long time.
Yeah.
In modern society, they've kind of died down a bit.
Why is that?
Just because they're not
needed as much?
Well, we used to use them out west because they could eat very low nutrition food and still produce meat and wool.
Oh, okay. Oh, you eat sheep too?
Yeah. Oh, sheep's good.
Oh, okay. Never had it, I don't think.
Yeah, people like cows now.
Yeah, true. It's bigger. Bigger red meat. You get a big hunk of T-bone. You don't want to. When you say you got a big hunk of sheep.
I personally don't like cow.
Really?
It's my least favorite of all the meats.
Mm-hmm. You and my dad are different people.
Fish.
Fish. Yeah, I know. I know you love fish.
So that's why cows. That's why to me, no matter what, when we get to reasons later, why cows, that's why cows. Is because they literally are everywhere.
Right, and they're big.
Yeah, they're easy to find. They're big. They're available in large numbers. And we're going to talk about some things maybe using as a food source. Experiments, just in general stuff. They're everywhere. They're big, and normally you can take a couple of them, nobody will notice.
Right. Yeah. I do have a thought though. I wonder if there's any like Native American stories or from like giant like buffalo or bison getting mutilated like this. If they have any accounts.
Don't know.
I don't know either, but that would be maybe part 3.
So we're gonna just talk about Chuck Zalowski. He's a UFO investigator.
Okay.
He spent 30 plus years investigating UFO reports and unexplained mutilations. That's what he's really famous for, is really diving into the mutilations. In the Rocky Mountains in the Southwest. So just in the Rocky Mountains in the Southwest, in the last 30 years, he's reported 10,000 mutilation events.
Oh my gosh.
30 years in the West.
And remember, this could probably only be 10%.
Yeah. So it's upwards of 100,000 mutilations 30 years in the last 30 years. In just the Pacific Mountains in the Southwest.
See, friends, it's a lot. It's happening a lot. A lot. This should be more on the news more.
So now I have just random... I gathered like some random cattle mutilation cases we're just going to go over. And they're all relatively within the last couple years.
Oh, okay, good.
So all these ones I have should be relatively, recent.
Yeah.
I don't think I have anything older than like 2015.
Oh, awesome. Okay, let's hear them.
So the whole article is just... So I'm going to go article by article. The latest case of cattle mutilations in Oregon's Confed's investigations. Confed's investigations. And this was in February of 2020. A multitude range cattle found dead late last summer has left authorities perplexed to how many have died, according to Blue Mount Eagle. I hate how newspapers write that first weird paragraph, the grabber. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the cow, a breeding animal worth around $850, was found dead with her genitals, udder, tongue, and heart removed at Bar Dr. Land and Cattle, a ranch in Hampton, Oregon, owned by Clancy and Stephanie Roth. The claimant Morehouse, the Roth ranch hand, reportedly found the cow dead when he visited the pasture filled with water to fill the water tanks, something he did each morning. Bar Dr. Land and Cattle is approximately 100 miles southwest of Silvas Valley Ranch. That's what I talked about earlier. The Silvas Valley incident. That's that big mutilation case.
Okay.
Where last summer 5 young purebred bulls were found dead. The bulls were found drained completely of blood, with certain body parts precisely removed. The missing body parts, which included the anus, scrotum, testicles, tongues, are often the first to be taken by scavengers, but the wounds that were examined by authorities were said to be cleanly and precisely cut. Lake County Sheriff's Office Deputy Tom Roke, who launched an investigation into the latest cattle mutilations on September 18, 2019, described the animals' injuries as being similarly clean, meaning that they likely did not come as a result of scavengers.
Right.
And this is his quote. When a pack of coyotes or a bird get into a carcass, not much is left, just bones, hide, in which are usually chewed, said Rourke. This was clean. It was like it was done by a blade. If somebody was hungry, they would have just whittled up a chunk of the back meat and taken it home. This wasn't done for food. This is something much more sinister. End quote. The cow had been basically gutted. They use that word, but it's not gutted. Just like the bulls a few weeks ago. The blood was gone, Roth said. It looked like somebody snipped her artery and drained her clean. So far, the case of the death is unknown due to the latest in part of the fact that the 24-hour window in which to perform a necropsy had elapsed prior to the Deputy Rourke's arrival the morning the cow had been found. So yeah, that is a cattle thing when I was in school for that stuff. Basically, so much bacteria and stuff will be infested in the dead body.
Okay.
It's impossible to tell what killed it after 24 hours.
Oh,
and
okay.
even when you hit that window, it probably is still impossible to tell. If you want to know what's killing your cattle, you really have 4 to 10 hours.
You got to get there fast.
Yeah, because they already have ammonia in their lungs constantly, which will come up later.
Okay.
But when they die, it takes over. Or when they're sick, it takes over.
Okay, I can see that. Kind of like
So cattle can die from pneumonia very easily because it's always present.
Don't crabs do that when they die? Like you gotta once you kill a crab, you gotta hurry up and gut it first because it leaches.
Their gut stuff will come into the rest of their body.
Yeah, and just ruins everything. Yep. Okay, so similar.
Yeah, so you got to do it fast. If you want to know what's actually killing a cow, you better be doing it fast, not a week later.
Okay.
So there's no apparent cause of death, such as a bullet wound or a strangulation mark, nor were there any clues of rope burns and nearby trees, tire tracks, shoe prints, and despite having been seemingly drained of blood, none was found spilled around the corpse.
I just like how it says there's no apparent cause of death, as it's literally gutted and cut up and
Well, that's not the cause of death.
Exactly. I guess it's the aftermath.
That's after.
Yeah.
You're not doing that while a cow's alive. I'm going to be really clear.
Yeah.
Try to cut a tongue out of a cow.
Right. Yeah. It's better. It'd be in like some catatonic trance or something if it were alive.
One clue was found at the crime scene, though. Agitated hoof marks beside the cow's foot indicated that she may have struggled in her last moments. So basically, it was her kicking at the dirt that she was laying on her side.
Okay.
Like something was holding her down.
Yeah.
A 1,700-pound animal.
It's being held down.
But no ropes. There's no rope marks on it. It was just pressure.
Yeah.
The crime scene is remote. Approximately 45-minute drive to the nearest paved road and approximately 100 feet off the dirt road, which means that any person committing the crime must have planned it. But who would do such a thing, and to what end? Deputy Rourke suggests that a cult is using the animal parts in bizarre medical practices, and Roth has similar concerns. We think it's a satanic thing, Roth says. They're probably taking the reproductive organs to use or selling them for satanic rituals. She then added that perhaps the act was timed for certain times or numbers. Nothing that the number on the cow's ear tag. Nothing that the number on the owl's ear tag 1313 was doubly unlucky. So the cow's ear tag was 1313.
And there's a lot of weird stuff with numerology, so there could be some relation there.
We're going to talk about ear tags later.
Okay.
I think it's ear tags just in general.
Okay.
Roth thinks it's possible that the killers may have poisoned the cow. After the killing, she said that their husband and her friend found a tiny scrape of fabric resembling a feather tip caught in the nearby sage brush. She believed that the fiber could have been from a flinch or a poisoned dart. They didn't find it in the cow.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Unfortunately, analysis of the crime scene did not yield any suspects, and now 4 months later, there are still no leads. I've seen too many crime scenes, Rourke says, but this one's got no evidence, nothing. It's really bizarre. The Bureau of Land Management also reportedly investigated this incident. The cow's death and the death of the bulls before it are a part of a large number of phenomena involving thousands of livestock deaths and mutilations that have been reported since 1970. The mysterious deaths and mutilations were so prolific they drew attention of that of the FBI. The reports are eerily similar, sharing these horrible details of missing body parts and suspiciously lack of blood. I cannot read. Explanations for the phenomena ranging from the mundane illnesses to satanic cults to extraterrestrials. But as far, the story remains a mystery.
So, with the satanic cult stuff, I can see where they're going with that, and I could almost agree with it. The only thing I can't get on board with is they're not doing it by hand. They're not doing it by themselves. But I'd say they could be involved somehow, but maybe they have other ways, which might be like mysterious or like magical, like dark magic stuff could be doing this. It could be satanic cult stuff, but with the dark magics involved. They could be summoning a spirit that's doing this stuff. You know, that's an angle. They could be right, but just not how they're doing it. That's a whole other story. But I could get on board with a satanic cult, explanation at least. But it's the how that is just my mind. I don't know how. The only explanation I could think if it is satanic is they're using dark magic to do this.
We will get into it later. I promise you.
Oh, I know we will. I know we will.
Because there's a lot of angles to this phenomena.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so I promise we'll get into the cult stuff later.
Oh, I know. I just wanted to comment on that since they made that explanation there. Like, oh, this is what it probably is. But it could be one of many things.
I will spoil this for you right now. No one in U.S. history has ever been arrested for mutilations.
Not one.
Not one. So next article, we're going to jump over to the land down under. So the UFO phenomena, Australia's cattle mutilation mysteries. I hate when they put two M's back to back. So once again, this is a news article, and this is from 7 News spotlighting the UFO phenomena of Australia. Ross Cludhurt. I'm going to go Ross Cludhurt wrote the article.
Okay.
I like to give credit when they actually put credit on the articles. Okay, so the following article contains images for some readers may find distressing.
Warning.
I don't have them in this, obviously, because this is an audio media.
Oh, I thought you said descriptions. I wasn't listening.
Photos.
Photos.
So, about a decade ago, Mike Cook began finding dead cattle on his remote 14,000 hectare North Queensland cattle station with distressing and inexplicable injuries.
That's a big area. It's a really big area.
That's this corner of Ohio.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically, it's like Alaska. They just give you the land.
Right here, you can use this.
But so basically, there's pictures attached to the article we're not going to get into. So the first was a dead cow lying on the ground. It had her udder cleanly removed. We didn't take it very seriously. Didn't think much about it. So I basically gave it a miss. Mick recalls. So basically, the first dead cow had its udder cleanly removed.
Yep.
And he just like, it's the Outback. Weird stuff happens. Which I get.
Yeah.
Outback does have a lot of scavengers in a lot of ways for a cow to die.
For sure.
I mean, they get stung by a scorpion, bit by a snake, bit by a spider, and they just drop it. And you're not going to find that bite wound on that cow.
Right. It's a deadly, barren place.
He admits that until recently, he didn't give it too much thought to any of the succession of strange cattle deaths over the following years because in this rugged country northwest of Mackay, it is not unusual to occasionally lose an animal to predators, drought, or illness. But over 2 years, he was patrolling the river counties on his station, and he found another dead cow. I thought, well, another bloody one, sort of thing, Mick says. As I'm driving past her, I see her udder has been surgically removed. The mutilated cow on Mick and Judy's property, there's pictures above, basically. There was no blood or anything, and yet it was neatly removed. The whole udder. And keep in mind, the udder goes into the body cavity.
This is utterly insane. I've been waiting to say it.
Okay.
But
I can't reach the button. He also noticed that the poor animal's jaw, the lower part of the cheek, and one of its ears had been cleanly cut off. As in, like, it was hit with like just a clean, fast blade. We went back to look at a lot of the other cow that had died and found that they had been operated and in the same, or as well in different ways. Basically, he said they started looking back at cattle that died and they realized that there was kind of this pattern they didn't realize was developed.
Right. A lot of similarities.
What struck Mick and his wife Judy most is how precise the cuts were that removed the key organs from his dead cattle. It's as if it is as if it was sealed when it was cut. There is no blood on the hide, no blood on anything. I don't know how anybody could have been able to remove a cow's udder without blood everywhere. And not only that, there are no struggles where the cow had died or anything else. Mick says nothing more than discernible hoof prints in the dirt around these animals.
Is there any chance that whatever it is doing this could be using some sort of like laser to like slice through?
Get into lasers later.
Okay.
Lasers do come up.
Because that would make sense without, it could cauterize an area as it's cutting. So there would be no blood.
So we're going to get into medical scalpel lasers, which do that.
Oh, okay. I never heard of such thing, but I like the sound of it.
That's what was used on my neck.
They used a medical scalpel laser to cut your neck?
Basically, because it's a scalpel and it cauterizes as it goes.
Okay.
Because mine was dealing with my arteries in my neck.
Okay, so you kind of want to be careful around that. You don't want you to bleed.
You want it to cauterize right when you're done cutting.
You ever seen that hockey player who got kicked by the skate?
And he died?
No, he didn't die, but he got kicked in the artery on his neck. Or what is that? Is it your jugular? No, it's your jugular. That's a vein.
Yeah, jugular is going
That's your
down.
Yeah, it's whatever. The main artery in your neck got sliced by a blade, and that blood just went like squirting like crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And the trainer had to reach out there and grab that artery with his thumb and pinch it closed. The guy lived, but scary. So imagine this, like with a cow, you're cutting through anything. If you hit an artery at all, there's going to be blood everywhere, but there's none. It's an interesting little, I don't know. And the USDA categorizes it by that fact alone, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So continuing on with Mick and Judy's farm. So we're going to go into the UFO cover-up exposed as secret documents are uncovered.
Oh.
So he knows that what injuries look like that are usually caused by the local predators such as dingoes, native dogs. And these injuries show none of teeth marks or no typically torn flesh with such attacks. Dogs and dingoes and stuff, when they kill animals, it is messy.
Yep.
The Cooks have lost at least 10 cattle, all with identical surgical precise wounds, and they're frankly concerned, and that definitely defies explanation. One of the photographs Mick took shows a cow with a wound that is clearly hexagonal in shape. It looks like a cookie cutter got pressed into it.
Oh, whoa, like a cookie cutter shark.
Kind of, but no, like an actual, like, this giant metal probe went in, grabbed, pulled out.
Gosh.
Into meat.
Into meat.
That's not good.
No.
And once again, the Cooks also noted that it's a complete lack of any blood that one would normally expect to see in such an excision. You'd expect to see if you pushed a cookie cutter into a cow.
Yeah, there would be a little bit of blood. I wonder too, is all these, like, when they say there's no blood at all, is the animal always drained of blood, or does it still have the blood inside it? It's just not leaking out or sprayed everywhere.
So when an animal dies,
yes,
after it's dead for a little bit, all the blood pulls to the side that's been laying against the ground.
Okay.
A lot of these cases don't have that when they do their necropsies. So that means the blood is absent, as if it was bled before.
Interesting.
That's
Okay.
why we bleed animals before we eat them.
Yeah.
Because the blood that settles on the one side will ruin all that meat on the one side.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
So not all of these cases, but a lot of them do have a complete lack of blood in necropsies. So the wounds are so exact that microscopic layers of translucent flesh are still intact behind the missing eye, and in the severed tongues and jowls and a penis of a prize bull and even an entire cow's anus were removed with no apparent destruction to the adjacent flesh, as if that one biological organ system was just taken out.
Yeah, just like
nothing around it. So behind the eye, there is translucent flesh. It's so thin that was not harmed by the removal of the eye.
Okay, this is getting extra weird. So it's very, very, very precise.
Yes, it's not an animal or a person ripping an eye out.
But it's intelligent.
Well,
it knows what it's doing, is what I'm saying. It knows what it's only removing this.
It's very good at removing it and not wanting the other stuff to come with it.
Right, yeah. Which I think is a sign of intelligence.
Well, it may not be. It may be instinctual. We'll get into it.
Instinctual intelligence.
Yeah, there you go. So he says, you can see all the veins that are left behind where everything has been removed, Mick says. You can see the blood in them. Yeah, well, I don't know. So it's obviously still blood in there.
Yeah.
But there's no blood actually in the wounds around them.
Almost like it's like the blood's frozen in time, like in its body. Like it's just frozen there.
He even doubts that a skilled surgeon with a knife could make such precise cuts.
Oh, I just got an idea. What if, like, before these things are getting mutilated, it's getting literally, like, frozen in time? Like, this cow is, there's no struggle or nothing, but it's, besides after it's on the ground and probably already, what if it's just, like, freezing this thing in time and it's doing all its cuts? Even if it does cut an artery, it's not going to bleed because it's just frozen. Everything is literally frozen, not moving. And then it seals everything up, almost. I don't know.
Or it gets injected with a coagulant.
Ooh, I like coagulation. Something about that word, coagulate.
So this is still the Mick story. Going public. When Mick and Judy went public on the local radio station and local newspapers in 2018, other local farmers privately admitted that they had experienced very similar strange losses. So this is not just Mick and Judy.
Yeah.
Police told the Cooks that there was little they could do unless unless the pre-predatory acts were caught in the act. If there is nobody there, we can't do anything. Mick says police told him. Then the Cook's farm is very isolated and at the end of a remote road. And the only access anywhere to the station runs right through the family's homestead. So basically, the only road in the whole station, this 14,000 hectares.
Hectare. Is it I think it's
hectares.
Oh, hectares. Okay.
I do know that word.
Okay. I don't know.
Hectares. It runs right through the middle of their house, like right through the middle of their homestead.
Right. That's nuts.
So they would know.
Right.
If
yeah.
anybody's coming out there,
They know.
they know. So they said, we've already heard anybody passing by, Mick tells them. Mick and Judy tell the local news, or 7 News Spotlight, the cattle mutilations were on their property. The one thing that they could recall for sure is seeing strange lights on nights in the valley beyond their homes. The next day, they found dead cattle with these organs removed. So they reported seeing lights.
Strange lights, eh?
At night, the cows
Gone the next morning or dead.
Yep. But we actually checked, and there were no choppers or anything anywhere at the night there. It's aliens to us, she jokes, Judy. Judy makes no bones about her suspicions that the explanation for these mutilations might not be of this world.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, we have vets go through the Judy and Mick case. They do not know what's going to happen, and it's being taken very seriously by local Australian government agencies. Because there's hundreds of cattle they're figuring out being lost in this area.
Right, and once they start talking and communicating, they realize the problem's way worse than they even thought or knew.
So the vet's analysis basically says this is definitely not an animal, and it definitely cannot be done by any modern veterinary science.
Okay, makes sense.
So he's basically admitting that it's not, sure, a surgeon could do it, but or maybe a surgeon could do it, but he's like, no vet could do this.
Right, and no animal is that we know of is mutilating them like this. No animal does this. That's in our, and that's common that we know of. That's obviously not supernatural or a natural animal. It's not a dingo. It's not
a dingo. This is not Charlie.
Charlie.
Just a guy.
Oh, okay. It's okay. Yeah, it's not Charlie or Dave.
So it's just a really weird one, and they got a lot of press behind it. And the more they came out, the more people in the local area started being like, "Yeah, this happens to us too."
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of glad we're not the only ones.
Right? Yeah, and it just takes you gotta communicate, you gotta talk, you gotta speak out, especially if you think you're. I don't know. Don't ever think you're crazy, people. Everyone's got a lot of stuff going on. Talk about it. It's okay. We're here for that kind of stuff. And then it gets out.
Mm-hmm. Tell us.
Yeah, tell us first. Yeah, first reported here.
Yeah, please. Pretty please.
Yeah, come on, guys, please. Just tell us,
please. So you ready for the next case?
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to read you the news article title. Okay.
Okay.
Barbaric. 58 pregnant cows mysteriously killed in northern Dakota.
Oh, pregnant cows. Dang.
Yes. 58 pregnant cows were killed in North Dakota. Pictures above are North Dakota associate photographer. Bunch of dead cows in the field.
Mm-hmm.
Cows are being mutilated in Oregon, horses in France, and now officials say North Dakota is investigating the death of 58 pregnant cows on July 29th in a pasture near Jamestown. And this is in 2021.
Oh, wow.
Last year.
58 cows last year.
Pregnant cows.
Wow.
Rancher Brian found the dead cows when they were grazing on the Arrowwood National Wildlife Refuge approximately 100 miles northwest of Fargo. Of the 80 surviving cows, at least 15 of them have aborted their calves due to whatever happened that night.
Oh, my gosh.
The surviving cows are due to calf within the next 2 to 10 weeks because it's all, a period.
Yeah.
Long-term effects of this incident are still unknown at this time.
Yeah, I wonder, like, I would like to follow up with this, like, the cows that were born. What if there's some weird defects?
I don't think many of them made it.
Okay.
And that could be just due to stress on the parents.
You think?
The rancher described the deaths as peculiar. Meanwhile, investigators say the deaths do not appear to be from natural causes. The Stutsman County Sheriff's Department in Northern Dakota Stutsman Association announced a reward up to $40,000 for information leading to the arrest of the persons or persons responsible. North Dakota State University veterinarians and livestock stewardship specialist said that lightning, anthrax, blue-green algae, Colorado disease, lead poisoning, lack of water, and naturally occurring nitrate toxicity were ruled out as factors.
Okay, ruled out.
Yeah, basically they did all these tests. These are like the big boys.
Okay. I thought you were about to swoop in at the end and say, this is likely what happened. And I'm like, cover up. But okay, good.
The death loss was certainly way above almost any extraordinary of any of the natural causes.
Mm-hmm.
The natural infection and natural disease or natural exposure to some toxins, said the lead vet of the college. Major Flock said that the case could be connected to two separate fires on the Armstrong Ranch in April that destroyed over 2,000 bales valued at $200,000.
2,000 bales? What's that mean?
Hay.
Okay.
So they could be out of food.
Oh.
They said it could be a cover-up.
Mm-hmm.
Like the guy couldn't find food for his cattle and just let them starve, and they all basically aborted because their bodies couldn't survive.
Yeah.
And the rest of them just died. Anyone with information is encouraged to call the certain jar, blah, 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 and here's their information. A Colorado ranch. So there's the next one. So basically that one, nothing is really heard. All these cows are just dead.
Yeah, I was going to say, did they, were they mutilated at all, or were they just dropped dead?
They were not really mutilated at all, as far as what I could find in the reading. They just seemed to they were all laying in a group, though. There wasn't like one dead way over here, one dead way over here. It was like...
Oh, they're like grouped together dead.
And some people say lightning strike, and I've seen a herd of a reindeer struck by lightning in Iceland, and it could be that. Besides like the one reindeer that was actually hit, all the local ones in the ground were all dead. Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, a big herd of them just...
But the one that got hit lived?
No.
Oh, okay.
He was barbecued.
I was going to say, that's weird.
The locals around him just dropped dead.
Gotcha, okay.
He was fried.
Fried, yeah. But wouldn't they have at least reported that? And
then a bunch of aborted calves. It just seems like a very tragic event. I don't know what box to put it in.
Right, yeah.
But it was noted in the groups that like people say this is some type of mutilation or alien or government or whatever.
And it was stressful to them, obviously.
Oh yeah. So a Colorado rancher is shocked when he witnesses the cattle abduction and mutilation one night. So this is a whole other story. It disturbed him so much that he decided to sell his ranch and move to Arizona. And I recently received the following account. So this is from the account.
Okay.
I knew a former Colorado rancher who owned a ranch near Del Norte and one near Mesa, Arizona. The sight of a strange, harsh, glittering light on the mountains in the southwest of Almasta, Colorado, was a common sight. Odd aircraft with extremely strong searchlights would maraud through the peaks. Strange and odd animal mutilations would occur here. The sights bothered him and his wife a lot. On one night, spelled the end of his continued life in this weird area. His wife had died a few years prior, and now he lived alone. He told me that he had gone to bed early because he had gotten up early to take care of all the livestock and do chores. His bedroom window looked out onto the adjoining East Corral, which was fenced in, or East Corral. My brain's starting to melt. I'm like Coral. Which was fenced in. The house was merely just a couple feet merely between a couple feet from the fence line.
Okay.
So basically the house with the corral are right on top of each other.
Yes.
He could see the cows out the window.
Yes.
Here were several cattle he looked after, which had been divided from the herd for several reasons. So these cows may have been sick, pregnant, whatever, looking to breed, and so they were split up from the main part of the herd. Around 1 a.m., he had awakened by a bright light, and it was intense and blasting through the windows. He got up to see what was going on. As he peered out the window, still, he couldn't believe his eyes. A large saucer-shaped object, about 50 feet in diameter, was just hovering above one of his cows. Not but 100 feet away from the house. The cow was surrounded by light. The vehicle utilized the light to power up a beam and lift the animal up into the base of the craft, hovering above. This sight put the fear of God into the rancher. He told me that he rushed away from the window, snuggled down between the floor and the wall, didn't fall asleep that remembered the entire night utterly petrified. No sounds were heard, and further from the animal's cries, and then silence. So basically, he didn't hear any sounds, and the animal made
Gone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is your classic tractor beam UFO story.
Mm-hmm. At dawn, the rancher rushed out to the corral area and found at least 30 feet away from his bedroom window a mutilated carcass of the same cow that had been levitated into the craft. Calling the sheriff, he contacted the authorities who listened to the story and basically told him he couldn't do anything about the incident. The authorities were utterly helpless.
Utterly.
I know. You used my pun before I could use it.
Sorry, I'm always jumping ahead.
I talked to him about this, and he told me that Robert Stack's television program, Unsolved Mysteries, had contacted him about the event, arranged an interview, and he talked to them on camera. The rancher said that he would do it under the condition that his face was not be shown, or no other identification information would be divulged. The harrowing incident put such fear into him that he decided that the weird event had been his last he'd witnessed in his life. Then he basically just sold his farm.
Mm.
But yeah. There's more to that, but that's pretty much it for that one.
Dang, that's like classic tractor beam UFO. And and then with the cattle mutilation, at the end of it, like that was the end result. So what is it? Is it aliens? Or is it something else? Bum, 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 bum.
So I think I have one more for you for this part 1 episode.
Yeah,
and
okay.
We'll have to save some for part 2.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we're setting a pretty good stage here.
I hope you guys are enjoying this so far. I know it's a lot of reading for this first part from me.
Oh, I think you're doing fine, and you're laying a lot of the groundwork here, the foundation for this stuff.
So this is December 11th, 2020 is this last case we're going to do for this episode.
Okay.
This is Jay's favorite.
This one is?
Mm-hmm. Cow dropped through roof of barn from above.
Mm-hmm. Check our Facebook page on October 11th. At 10 o'clock or at whatever.
The video was released again when this episode comes out.
Okay.
The video was made on December 9th, 2020. A surveillance camera. The cow falls through the roof and into the barn. The farmers whose cow it was saw the UFO above the barn, and then this happened. But what was this? It is hard to believe that any hoaxer could have dropped a cow from above their own barn. Other video experts believe that the fall is too violent to have been due to a collapsing of the roof above.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no upper floor of this barn.
Mm-mm.
I see that a lot mentioned with this video. It just fell from the
floor above. No. You once so. The video is only like 14 seconds long. I'll describe it real quick. It's literally just like a camera inside of like a little cattle.
Yeah, it's the milking area or the resting area.
Yeah, and the roof is like a little tin roof, and this cow and
there's 2 other cows below.
Yes, they're in there. I mean, and it just comes crashing through feet first through it, and you can see there's nothing above it. It's just a little tin roof. Mm-hmm. It comes crashing through, lands like on a fence post, like a divider rail, and it's like struggling, and it's still alive. And
it gets up and walks away.
Yeah. And you can see through the roof after it crashes through the big hole in it. There ain't nothing up there as far as like something for it to walk on, 1. 2, a cow can't get up on the roof and walk on this roof because it wouldn't make it 1 step on the roof without falling through. And it fell through right in the middle of it.
And it comes in at an angle. If you watch the video, it's almost like it was thrown
through. Jeez. And you can see like outside, you can kind of see like the wind's whipping around real good. There's people, you can see the farmer running.
Don't ruin my thing.
No, I'm just saying, you see them running. That's it.
So although there is not enough information or not enough debris, but what debris is there is consistent with shingles and the roofing stuff. So basically they're saying if it was a floor above, you'd expect to see more falling through the hole with it.
Right. There ain't nothing but the roof.
Further comments on this video is obviously flipped, although probably shot off the monitor. Basically, it happened the other angle. That's all they're saying.
Okay.
Is than what everybody sees it as.
Okay.
Which really doesn't matter.
Right.
But that's common in surveillance videos, and the raw video files are accessible. The on and off orb is the flashlight of somebody approaching the scene. So basically, some people said it was a UFO bouncing along the ground. That was the lady's flashlight.
Mm-hmm. She was in there when it was happening.
So some people think the cow walked off the roof. It didn't, because it would have made it all the way on that tin.
Mm-hmm.
Some suggest a dust devil or a small tornado threw the cow.
Okay.
And that is very possible.
Yeah.
The cow seems to be coming in at an angle.
Mm-hmm.
But, so I have a little last thing for you after that. The farmers were immediately there, and they have refused comment about this forever. Mm-hmm. But basically, if you watch this video, the farmers are already running before the cow falls through. Mm-hmm. So whatever happened, they seen it.
Yeah. Whether it be extreme inclement weather, a dust devil or something, they're running from it.
They seen the cow coming.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Whatever was up there, they seen.
Yes.
Here's some stuff. So the cow, when it hit the fence, it hit pretty hard, but it got up and it walked away. Mm-hmm. I'm going to tell you something about cows. Cows die instantly at 10 meters of falling.
Oh, wow.
Cows break their legs at 2 meters of falling.
Hmm.
The cow did not break his legs when he hit the barn roof. The cow did not break his legs when he hit the floor below. Hmm. So it was not dropped from a height.
Is it possible like the roof kind of broke its fall a little bit?
That's why it didn't break its legs on the floor below.
And it looked like it landed on the railing too. Yeah. So maybe it hit its stomach
But no, its front legs hit the ground.
Did hit. Okay.
It did not break its legs. So it's probably just above the barn, as if something was probably trying to put it back.
What a way to put it back too. Thump, right through the roof.
Whatever it was got caught by the farmers. It's like, crap.
Yeah.
I just drop it.
Or it slipped. Yeah, it slipped out of its grass, whatever it.
I doubt it slipped. I don't think this thing's let go of many things unwillingly.
You're probably right. Yeah, whatever it did, seems deliberate, but either way, it's a freaking cow crashing through a roof. That don't happen, and it's on camera.
So this is part 1 of cattle mutilations. When we come back, we have 2 more cattle mutilations. Then we're going to get into what could be causing this. Also, the big questions with cattle mutilations.
What is it?
We got all this stuff.
Yeah.
Anything to add before we go out of this episode, Jay?
No, I think this has been insightful and.
Sorry, this first part's been a lot of reading from Justin.
You did fine.
All right. I have been the great and powerful Mr. E.
And I've been grass-fed, non-GMO Jay.
And together we are Cryptids of the Corn Podcast. Please leave us a 5-star review on any of the apps you are listening on.
You've been listening to Cryptids of the Corn. Be sure to join us in the next episode where we tantalize your intellect and expand the horizons of your mind. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we really appreciate it. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Until then, stay magical.